Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating idea that could completely change how your neighborhood gets its power. We're talking about turning every single home with a solar panel into its own mini power station for the whole community. So just imagine this for a second. It's a super bright, sunny day. Your solar panels are just cranking out electricity way more than your house can possibly use, and your battery's already full. So what happens to all that extra, really valuable energy? Well, right now, for most of us, it just gets sold back to the big utility company, usually for a pretty low fixed price. And that situation, right there, makes you what energy experts call a prosumer. It's a simple idea, right? You're not just a consumer of electricity anymore, you're also a producer. It sounds simple, but it represents this massive shift in how we think about energy. Okay, let's get into the prosumer dilemma. Because our electrical grid, well, it wasn't really built for a two-way conversation. You have to think of it like a one-way street. Huge power plants create the electricity, and it flows downhill to your home. Trying to send power back up that street can get really complicated and, honestly, pretty inefficient. But what if there was a better way? What if you could just bypass that big grid for a bit and sell your extra solar power directly to your neighbor across the street? You know, the one whose air conditioning is blasting. Or maybe to the family down the block who's charging their new electric car. Well, this idea has a name, and it's really the core of the research we're breaking down today. It's called a local energy market, or an LEM for short. And it's a complete rethink of how power is bought and sold, basically moving the entire marketplace from some huge centralized system right into your own neighborhood. So a local energy market lets you do direct peer-to-peer energy trading. It really encourages this community-based energy sharing, which means the whole neighborhood doesn't have to rely so much on the main grid. And maybe most importantly, it turns prosumers from just passive suppliers into active, really engaged players in their own local energy economy. Okay, so that sounds great in theory, but how would this actually work? Well, the researchers behind this study proposed a really clever two-stage model to make sure the lights stay on and the whole market runs smoothly. Now I know, at first glance, this diagram might look a little intense. You've got prosumers down at the bottom, a local market operator, the main grid. But the key thing to see here is the clear separation between stage 1 and stage 2. Let's break that down right now. See? Much simpler when you put it like that. So, in stage 1, it is all about the neighborhood. Prosumers, that's you and your neighbors, are trading energy directly with each other, peer-to-peer. Then, in stage 2, a local market operator steps in. They work with the main grid operator to balance everything out, making sure the local network stays stable and secure for everybody. And this really gets to the core of it. As the source material says, prosumers play a central role in current distribution networks. In this new kind of model, you're not just an afterthought. You are a critical, central piece of the entire puzzle. This all sounds fantastic, right? But it brings up a huge, huge question. If you're building a brand new market from the ground up, what should its main goal even be? What are the rules? Because believe me, the rules you choose will have a massive impact on how the whole thing actually behaves. And this brings us to two competing ideas that the researchers tested. On one hand, you've got strategy 1, best price. This one is all about economic efficiency, getting the cheapest seller matched up with the highest bidder, period. On the other hand, there's strategy 2, maximize sharing. This one has a totally different goal. Keep as much energy as possible circulating right here inside the community, aiming for total self-sufficiency. All right, let's take a closer look at strategy 1. With this one, the algorithm is just ruthlessly efficient. Its only job, its only goal is to find the absolute best financial deal. And wow, this map shows you exactly what that looks like. This is a snapshot of all the energy trades happening at one specific hour under the best price rules. Just look at how few trades there actually are. The system found the most perfect, economical matches, like prosumer 3 selling to prosumer 9, and only did those trades. It's super precise, but not very social. Okay, so now let's pivot and check out the second approach. This strategy has a much more community-focused goal, which is let's maximize the amount of energy we can all share among ourselves right here in the neighborhood. And under these rules, the picture just changes completely. The goal isn't to find the one perfect trade anymore. It's to make as many local trades happen as possible to meet the neighborhood's energy needs from within. And the result is a much more vibrant, much more active, and interconnected local market with way more people getting involved. So this isn't just some abstract thought experiment. The
The researchers actually put these two competing strategies to the test. They used data from a real-world scenario to see which one would perform better. They modeled their entire test on this actual distribution network in Finland. It includes 10 homes, some with solar panels, some without. Using a real layout like this makes the simulation so much more meaningful. It really grounds the results in physical reality. And here we go, the results. This chart lays it all out, comparing the two strategies on two really important metrics. Now, while both strategies end up delivering pretty similar cost savings for the community as a whole, just look at the difference in self-sufficiency. The maximized sharing strategy creates a community that is way more self-reliant, meeting its own energy needs locally.
So here's the bottom line. The best price strategy? Yeah, it's efficient, but it leads to a less engaged community. The maximized sharing strategy, on the other hand, dramatically boosts a neighborhood's ability to power itself. It just proves that the fundamental rules you build into a market create completely and profoundly different outcomes for everyone.
So that brings us to the really big picture here. Why does this choice between two different market strategies actually matter to us in the real world? It matters because this is not just some academic model. What this research gives us is a potential blueprint for a future where our energy systems are more resilient, against large-scale outages, more participatory for everyday people like you and me, and ultimately just way more efficient at using the clean energy we generate right on our own rooftops. And that leaves us with a critical choice, a really fundamental question. As we design the smart grids of tomorrow, what values do we want to program into their code? Should the ultimate goal be prioritizing maximum economic efficiency for individual savings? Or should it be about building strong, self-sufficient, and interconnected communities? The answer to that is going to define our energy future.